Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Irvine International Academy regular scheduled board meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. We are meeting at Irvine International Academy, 4782 Karen Ann Lane, Irvine, California, 92604. The meeting will be called to order at 6 p.m. We'll start with roll call. Molly?
Present.
Felipe?
Present.
Brett? Present. David?
Present.
Welcome, David. Okay, moving on to the next item, approval of the agenda for the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors on November 4th, 2025. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors today, November 4th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I'll motion so.
Thank you, Felipe. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. I didn't hear anything.
Aye.
Okay, I'll try that again. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. None, it passes. Okay, we'll move on to community input on closed session agenda items. Members of the public may comment on items listed on the closed session agenda only. Public comments, including emailed comments, shall be limited to 3 minutes per comment with up to 20 minutes of public comment. Are there any public comments for closed session?
There are none.
Thank you. Moving on to closed session, first discussion and possible action. We'll discuss conference with real property negotiators. Negotiator will be Dr. Henry. And the property that we will be discussing is 4872 Karen Ann Lane, Irvine, California, 92604, which is the location we're currently at. We predict maybe 30 minutes. Is that fair to say? Okay.
That was what I was going to say.
All right. We shall reconvene in about 30 minutes. Okay, thank you all for your patience. We are reconvening. It's 6:51 p.m. In terms of a report out, no action was taken. We did receive an update from Dr. Henry on where we stand with Prop 39. Moving on to the very important flag salute. Do we have any volunteers? All right, well, thank you.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to community input on agendized and non-agendized items. Public may comment on items listed on the agenda, including the consent calendar, presentation, discussion, committee, and action items. Public may also comment on items not listed on the agenda that are within the legal purview of the Board of Directors. Are there any public comments?
There are not.
Thank you. Moving on to items for consent. We've got 2 items. The first is approve the minutes from the regular meeting of the IAA Board of Directors on October 14, 2025, and the second is approve the personnel report. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve consent items A and B. Is there a motion?
I'll motion so.
Thank you, Felipe. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Moving on to items for presentation. First, we have school update. Principal Schmitter.
Well, good evening, everyone. I just want to give you a few updates on some things that have been taking place, as well as some things to look forward to in the near future. Just kind of want to reiterate something that we've been talking about as a staff and just as a school. Some of our focuses for the school year, and that's classroom routines and procedures and standards-based instruction. A lot of this stems from just observations as well as this CAST results, and so One of the things that we want here at IIA is just that focus on continued growth and just that growth mindset. So we're very intentional in a lot of what we're doing with our teachers from Welcome Week, where they did classroom management, and then some different professional development that we have been doing. It's really kind of just instilling that into our teachers and into our school, so it becomes a very normal part of it. So just kind of want to update you on that. Last week we had our parent workshop on our kind of on CAPS testing and some of the things that we're doing as a school as a result of that. So we actually had a really good turnout to that. There's about 15 to 20 parents with more on Zoom. I think some of you saw that. It was the longest parent workshop we've had, where it lasted about 2 hours, but it lasted 2 hours just because there was a lot of great discussion. And I wanted to make it where it wasn't just us as a school just telling them. I wanted them to be a part of it. So there was a lot of time for them to discuss it as a group, share their ideas, share their input too, so that we have that. So I have that from them as well. And then we had our Halloween parade last Friday, which again was another great turnout. If you were here, you saw that there was a good atmosphere, good environment. So just another way that we want to have our families and our school community come together. So we were happy with how that went. Our PBIS assemblies have been going smooth. Again, that was one of things that we've been addressing this year. We have been working with OCD on Tier 1. So last year was a lot of the training. This year is the first year of implementation. And this month's focus is the W in our PAWS acronym, and that's work and play safely. And so it's something we talked about at the assembly. The teachers have little mini lessons, and they kind of reinforce that with their kids. And then next month, this month actually, later this month, the students will be recognized for that, who kind of resemble that. It's a way just to kind of continue to work with our students, so that way we have our school-wide expectations, and it's not just told to them, but it's taught and it's modeled and reinforced. So again, we can ask our students, this is what we want our students, how we want them to behave and act, but at the same time, we need to teach that to them and reinforce that. So that's been going on. We also have our staff development day coming this next Monday, and it's our Thinking Maps, first day of our Thinking Maps training. This is we have a full day on Monday, and then we have 2 Wednesday afternoons, one in January, one in February, I believe, was it? Yeah. And so we have those 3 days, and that's kind of the first phase of our Thinking Maps professional development, which is really what it is, it's a cohesive writing program to support our students, starting as young as TK, all the way through our 8th graders. This kind of goes hand in hand with our action plan from our CAS results. Because one big thing about the CAPS testing as well and CAS that we saw is that writing is a very big component of that. And so we want to have a strong writing program within our school to support that, just so that way our students are prepared. And so we want to build those writing skills. So that's taking place on Monday. We do have also, starting next Wednesday through the following Monday, the 17th, our parent-teacher conferences. So our elementary teachers and middle school teachers will be meeting with their families. They'll provide updates on their performance, and both in iReady and the report cards. And then so we've been preparing them for that. So our teachers are looking forward to that. Another big update too is for our after school, our ELP update. So again, this is the first year that we brought it in-house. So now we're right in the thick of registering for our second session. So we worked with our families who are ELP qualified, so they're registered. And then actually earlier today we opened it up to other families, so we do have additional spots. So that process, again, last time went well, but this time was a lot more smooth, because we knew what were the roadblocks, what were the issues last time, so we were proactive in that. Again, one of the shifts that we have done too is make it more focused on the expanded learning part for academic support and intervention for our students. So we worked at clubs to have that, working with Mr. Gito to have those schedules strong, and that way we're very clear in what we're doing and what kind of support we're providing for our students. We do have our Wednesday clubs, which have more enrichment, but they also have that built-in homework time for our students. And then we worked it out with strategic kids too, that I know Spanish was a big thing that our families had wanted, but we also now have Mandarin as well with strategic kids. They're gonna be starting that in January. So we'll have that available for our families starting in January. And then with the new session, it's scheduled to begin on November 12th, so next Wednesday. So, again, we have on average about 300 to 350 students in all the after-school programs, not just ours, but also with the YMCA, and also strategic kids. So it's kind of its own separate school as well. So we have a lot. If you come here anytime after school, up until 4:30, 5 o'clock, there's just always a lot of activity. And then kind of some things looking ahead, we do have our school site council this Thursday. We have our staff development day, again, I talked about on the 10th, our next after-school session, parent-teacher conferences, and then Thanksgiving break. So that's just kind of a snapshot of the next month. And we do have our winter concert scheduled for December 10th, and that's been on our calendar since the beginning of the school year, and then we'll have details about that going out within the next week. So I know it's a lot of updates in a lot of different areas. So if you have any questions?
I heard you said there's a Mandarin after school, part of the after school enrichment.
Yeah.
But I mentioned Spanish, but not a start date or, target date.
Yeah, no, that's starting in January.
Oh, the Spanish?
Yes,
is?
Spanish is
So-
starting in January. That's been
Okay.
confirmed starting.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I do have a question. We had a student email us about interest in starting a club.
Yeah.
And was curious, what's the process that we're thinking about? There's an application, is there a review? Can you give us some idea? I don't know if this is the first time maybe we've actually received an inquiry.
It is the first time, and so that's one thing that I've talked about with Dr. Henry. So we have a couple of different examples of, basically it's like applications, so to speak, and it kind of outlines what's required for a club. They need to have a staff member sponsor it, because there has to, if it's a school club, we do need to have a staff member there. Then it would go to our ASB advisor, Mr. Gibbons, and then it would go to me to sign off on that. But we are working on that. We hope to get that done soon, so that we have that packet that they can fill out. It's not going to be very labor intensive, but they do need to get that staff support. And then we'll work with them to get that going. Yeah.
Estimated timing on when you think we might have something?
I would say, I would hope that we have something for the students beginning of next week, I think is a reasonable time frame. Just because we want to put something out there, but we want to make sure that it's what needs to be in place.
Yeah.
We don't want to rush it and get it wrong. But
Yeah.
I would say by the next week we'll
Okay,
possibly.
yeah, I'm curious. I mean, you may have others, right, that come up.
Yeah, no, and I think now with one starting,
Yeah.
I've already heard from a teacher that there's a couple students who want to start a coding club as well. So I think we'll start seeing some or more of that grow, and that's why we want to have those things in place, so that way we can have those student clubs, but we want to make sure we do it the right way.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
First, I'm thrilled that we're gonna have the Thinking Map training. But I know at IIA, the parents are heavily involved in the student learning, and I was wondering, is there any kind of maybe a quick lesson or for the parents?
Yeah, so we actually talked about that recently, where when we do our Thinking Maps implementation, that we would be sending out updates to families. Okay, this is a circle. The students are doing it as an example with a circle map, and as the students are working through those different maps, on those different parts of the Thinking Map, we would actually be sending out information to families to support that as well. So kind of go inside. We actually, I think within the last few days ago, we talked about that.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, move on to the next item, financial update. Mr. Miller, are you there?
I am. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, well, there's no financial report tonight. It's just going to be a quick update on cash that was requested adjusted, I believe, at the last board meeting. Again, October financials are not in, and September's were already presented. But what I do want to give you guys is an update. I know there were concerns as to whether or not there would be need for a loan, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys a quick cash flow presentation I put together. Can you all see this okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so getting right into it, we're just going to take a look at some numbers here, and then I'm just going to kind of give you the spiel on where we're at as far as cash flow is concerned. So the first thing we're going to look at is net income. I know it's quite a bit on the screen here, but what we're looking at here is just net income by month. So the big reason why I wanted to wait till September to, kind of put together these projections in the first place is because we see a lot of variability in July and August regarding what your guys' expenses are, and revenues for that matter, quite frankly. So, for here, the number that I'm really picking up here is the total expenses for the month. I'm hoping that those expenses, because in August you buy a lot of your beginning books and supplies, you buy a lot of your curriculum, and then kind of in September things tend to level out with payroll, with services. So we're kind of using this number here, as you can see, that I adjusted this just slightly based on our budget projections going forward through October to January. And the reason it's cut off at January, and this is definitely an important point, is because you guys grew so much in student size, that February is going to be your big, hopefully your really big turning point in terms of cash and revenue, because after February, you're going to really see the effects of P1. So P1 is going to kick in, and you're going to get paid out based on your new student counts. So right now, you're being paid out based on P2 of last year, and in February of this year, you're going to be paid out based on what your current ADA enrollment is. So we're really looking forward to February and just kind of making sure that we can make it. And if we're looking at cash here, based on these projections, I'll go ahead and walk you through them. So for July, our starting cash was $702, which was a healthy starting cash balance, I know, because of the original loan draw. And at the end of September, our actual number was just about $1 million in cash. And as you can see here, our cash stays pretty steady month to month. Now, here's the big thing. I think that the current trends show that there will be no need for a loan, especially, I think, up until February. I think, it will be fine. But the main thing that I want to underscore here is these are projections and they're subject to change. I think there are two main factors. One is that the timings of the revenues are really important when you talk about cash flow. And, we're living in the world of the longest government shutdown in our country's history. So, that could delay some of these, federal revenues that, we're projecting. And while it's kind of a small amount, it just goes to show that, those timings are important and they're fluctuating. The other thing that I think is really of note here is really twofold, which is that we don't have the detailed historical data, so like the GLs that you'd have as a back office if we'd worked for you guys for 3 years. We just don't have that data. The other thing we don't have is the data for IAA, because you guys are at an unprecedented student count for your guys' school. You guys are at 600, you've never, had 600 kids in your past, so we're kind of just going based off September for these projections, which is the best data we have available, but again, is subject to change. So all this to say, based on current trends, I don't think you guys will need to take out a loan, but what I can say that CSNC and IAA are doing together is we're keeping a very close eye on it. Sochi, who's our AM, puts together very detailed cash flow projections every single week, and we send that out to Dr. Henry and the IAA team, and I review it as well. And we make sure that we're okay for the next 2 months. So it's very detailed for 2 months, and we're on that front. We are looking good. So I think that's just about where I'll conclude it and open it up to any questions here.
I have a question. August, why is the total expense suddenly increase significantly?
For which one?
August. You know, for
Oh,
the,
August because
yeah,
school starts.
August expense.
Yeah, so typically we see a jump in August because typically school starts and you're buying curriculum. So there's usually that jump when, you know, you're starting the year, you're getting a lot of materials and supplies.
Gotcha.
You're also kind of kicking off the first payroll run in August, so that's kind of what makes up that jump.
And can you explain the revenue drop in November as opposed to October? It's about $100,000 drop.
Sure. So that's based on LCFF projections. A lot of it is due to fabulous Miss Anna Day's projections, which she sent us, which are incorporated in here. I think specifically for October and November, the discrepancy is in state revenue in our budget, which again is subject to change. We're expecting a new grant that I got. You know the name of it, I'm going to butcher, but it's something about the student development and professional development block grant. I'm pretty sure that's close to being right. And essentially that grant we expect it to come in October and hit the books then, which is why the revenue is higher for October than it is in, say, November, December, January, or really November and December.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
So, we're in November now. Did it come in October, or?
I believe we're still waiting on it, but we might accrue it into October depending on if it comes. But honestly, I would need to double check. I know Sochi accounted for it in her cash flow report that she sent out today. So either way, either if it comes in October or it comes in November, it will be, you know, negligible on the cash flow because we projected for it. So again, that's part of the timing variance. So whether it comes in October or November, we still have enough cash. It's not like we're cash poor. You know, at the end of September, we had $1 million in cash. So we're still kind of regardless of the timing, we'll have enough cash to meet payroll. It's only the kind of thing that really matters if you're, you know, on your last few $100,000 and you can't meet payroll for the month. Yeah.
Thank you. And then, my understanding is there is some additional maybe bonus per TK student that's being provided for this year, is that right?
Yes, so it's not me, it's louder. Sorry, yes, so TK this year, my understanding is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I believe the number is we are getting, and I don't know if I'm planning it's this year only. It could be extended, but it's an extra $5,550 per ADA for TK students, and that is by the state, and that's because a lot of districts are having a hard time serving the number of TK students that they've had because of the change in the law. We're doing fine, so we just benefit from the additional ADA. The way that I explained it to the staff once I looked at that is that we can almost think of it as a 1.5 for, instead of 1 ADA per TK, it's 1.5 per TK.
But would we see that post in February? Is that when we would actually see any incremental?
Exactly. You wouldn't get credit for the TK students that you currently have until February. So you'd be paid out based on P2's TK count. However, I believe you will get that extra. I don't know if it's 5,500, but you will get that extra bump currently.
Thank you.
Couple of more questions. You know, very interesting to take a look. The net income change in August, right? You have a significant lower or negative net income in August, 400,000. But you take a look at the cash flow in August, that's very positive. And your as you move from August to September, and ending cash balance suddenly increased to over $1 million. That's a $250,000 increase. But the net income only increase. On the positive side, the 146. I wonder, why this huge increase, $250,000?
So that is a great question, and it is something that's a little more involved, honestly. But I can give a kind of once-over on it.
Yeah.
Essentially, a lot of charter school accounting is given to us in these buckets called resource codes. So, Brandon, I think, talked about ELOP. We'll just take that for example. So the cash comes in for, let's say, ELOP, and the cash hits the books and we can spend it. However, that money has to be, it's not recognized as revenue until we spend it. And I think maybe something that'll help make sense here is like, when Brett does his, approvals on Procurify, every charge has this very long accounting string. And part of the accounting string is saying, we're taking ELOP revenues and we're spending it on after-school care. And it's not until that we have that expense do we recognize it as revenue. However, the cash is already in the account and we can use it. So eventually we have to tag that cash as, as ELOP and recognize it as an expense. But that's why sometimes, and there's a variety of other reasons, but that's definitely one thing in this case in particular that caused that discrepancy on that one. Does that kind of make sense as far as that? I know it works a little different than kind of a normal. It's probably the nuances that you're supposed to be knowing versus a normal company.
If I could add to it, and Nick, you previously shared this, that a lot of our spending to get ready for the school year is in August. We have to make sure classrooms are set, we get all of our supplies, we get all of our books, all of our curriculum. Once September comes, we don't have that expense again. And so the spending goes way down from August. So that's another big reason. There's a lot of startup costs to the school year in August that we don't have once September hits. We're not going to continuously be buying new curriculum.
Yeah. I'm just curious about, on the net income side, you have a significant drop in August. And if you take a look at the cash flow, it's increasing from July to August. And as you move from August to September, that's about $250,000 increase. The revenue on the net income side has only increased by like 100-something thousand. I'm just curious. I don't know how to explain that. Yeah.
No, it's a really good observation, and part of that is we're getting some of these one-time funds early, but we're not spending them yet.
Okay.
So we get them in as cash, but they're not being spent and recognized as revenue on our books until we spend it. So that's part, because it's a really, really good observation. It's really that, and then we also made an intra-company transfer via the Treasury account from July to August, which helped make up the difference of almost like $200,000 we transferred from the Treasury to the operating account, and that also made a big difference as far as our cash flow that we show goes. But it's part of it really is that we're getting the cash for, let's just say, ELOP, but we haven't tagged any expenses to ELOP's resource code, so we haven't yet recognized it as revenue on our books.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Is this
okay?
Is this liquidity overview going to be provided monthly, or how often are you looking to provide this? Because this is helpful. I mean, actually, it's something very good to look at for us.
Sure, I mean, part of my monthly presentation will incorporate cash flow for sure. I can also, maybe put together something, the thing that Sochi sends out to Dr. Henry and myself and the IA team is considerably less pretty than what you guys probably saw today. So I'm hesitant to send you the full, CAT scan on the cash flow situation. But maybe next month I'll put together something in the same ballpark where we can look at cash month to month and kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, and the assessment on whether or not a draw is needed. I think that's what we're hoping.
Of course.
We're hoping for the runway, right? So we are not surprised. We look at it monthly and we can see how things are trending. And that's what I'm saying is helpful here.
Absolutely. Now that absolutely, and we do that with IA's team weekly. So that's really something that's been a priority since we started working since CSMC started working with IAA. So we're definitely keeping a very close eye on that. And again, at this time, we don't anticipate there being any need for a loan, especially through September or December. It's really going to be that January month and probably the first payroll of February. That would be close, but hopefully after February, after the first kick in of LCFF payments in February, we should kind of be out of the woods cash flow wise. That's what we're looking at.
And from what you're seeing, when is the actual pay down of the line of credit draw that we've taken so far? Do we have that mapped out to the end of the year?
Yep. So that one's very much in progress. We haven't forgotten about that at all. We're still getting the payment schedules from Delano, and getting kind of a detailed GL from him on his side. But all the payments are coming out of the Endeavor account monthly, as the loan stipulates. So we're meeting all the payments and everything's been tracking in its time. And I think given our current budget projections, which again, I know we're concerned with the cash flow month to month, but I think again, the important thing in charter finance is, where do you end the year? Because we get so much of our revenue at the end of the year, it's as important as cash flow is, it's something that is, while it's still important, where you end the year in terms of net income is the most important thing to the school, and that is looking very positive. Again, first term we're projecting just around $1 million surplus. So as long, I know I've told Dr. Henry, even if it's 500,000, it's great. It's still a big win, but I know she's shooting for something more in that $1 million range. So we're gonna wait and see on that, but so far things have been tracking well for end of the year.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, Mr. Miller, thank you very much. Anything else that you wanted to state this evening?
Nope, I think that's it for me, everyone. Any last questions before I log off here?
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, moving on to the community check-in. The first, number 1 survey results. Dr. Henry.
Great, thank you.
Okay, now it's on.
I was asked at the beginning of the year to do some regular community check-in surveys, more of a temperature check. And so the first one went out as scheduled in September. And so I wanted to share with you the results and the questions that we came from. It was a brief survey, and I'll continue to give you updates on this. So just to let you know, for our first community check-in survey, we developed the survey with feedback from our Executive Director Advisory Committee, which is new this year. When we had our first meeting, I shared the preliminary questions. the advisory committee gave feedback. We actually added an additional question based on that feedback. We had 75 respondents to the survey. And then here's kind of the timeline and the process. So again, the survey was shared with the Executive Director's Advisory Committee in September 16th. On the 29th, we sent the survey to our families. We closed it on the 10th. Our data was shared with our leadership team and all of the comments and such, and so that we can kind of see how that impacts us and what we need to do. On the 23rd of October, the data was also shared at a coffee with the principal, so they've seen this presentation, a lot of our families have. It was just the timing, and then today we're sharing the results with the board. So the purpose, again, of the survey, this was, again, requested from you, our board of directors, and it was to enhance transparency between IIA and our stakeholders, our families, our community. We want to use the comments, the results, to support student learning, well-being. We want to encourage two-way communication and make sure that our messaging is aligned, and also promote a positive school culture. So you can take a look at our respondents and our data here, and it's broken down, our 75 respondents, it's broken down by grade levels. Families could choose more than one grade level if they had more than one child. And so you can see of our respondents how many had children in TK and K as well as first grade. This is pretty predictable that a lot of our respondents are from the younger grades. That also means, though, for our TK, many of the families, unless they have multiple children, are learning about IIA. So some of it was they may have picked that kind of like I don't know middle range for things that were maybe more addressing the older students. So I did kind of see that a little bit later.
You know, I couldn't help but notice that there's only one 8th grade respondent. That might be me.
It might be, Mr. Delgado.
I just think so.
If you did the
It's more than
survey, it
likely.
probably is you.
It probably is me. I did do the survey, I think it's me.
And one thing that the Executive Director Advisory Committee said, and this is just a general, that people will do surveys when they're not happy. You know, in general, if people weren't happy, we would have a lot of people. So I'm hoping that you'll see that as a good sign. But it was open, and we left it open for a long time because we also wanted to leave it open past the Mid-Autumn Festival, so that it was open past the 8th. So if you also wanted to see another data point is how long the families that responded, how long they've been at IIA. So a quarter of them were first-year families, another almost quarter, or 20, another quarter, 26% had been here 2 years, and you can kind of see the how long they've been here. The reason why I wanted to add those 2 data points by grade level and then how long they've been attending is if there's ever a data point that we want to dig deeper into, we can filter out like, okay, if this is a problem, is it just our new families, or is this, we can dig deeper and filter out the data that way if we want to, because we have it. All right, question number 1, and I'll go pretty quickly if you have questions. It's very straightforward. And also, this is baseline because it's our first time giving this survey. I think it'll be more interesting when we have some comparative data to see if we're growing or seeing change. But this is our first time doing this, so it's baseline. So the first question was, how satisfied are you with IIA's overall progress? And 71.6% are satisfied and mostly satisfied. Again, I think an interesting point is the 3 in the Likert scale, which in the written survey I shared was a neutral point. And because we had so many brand new TK families, I think at this point they're like, on September 16th, they're like, maybe they don't have an opinion either way. And then also the fact that we had no 1s, which was not at all satisfied, I think is also a really good sign. Question 2 was about communication and transparency. How well do you feel informed about school updates, decisions, and initiatives? And again, this one's 77.4%, so even higher. And you see quite a few parents, the majority, are giving it 4s and 5s. They feel informed or very informed. Moving to question 3 for culture and climate, how would you rate the overall school climate? And we gave the example of respect, collaboration, or positivity this quarter. And again, the data is high at 86.7%. That's our highest so far percentage, are rating our climate as positive or very positive. Question 4, leadership and direction. To what extent do you feel the school is moving in the right direction? And we had 81.7% agree or strongly agree. I think, again, with that kind of neutral range, you had 14% that probably aren't really sure or maybe don't know enough about the school yet. It had only been in for a month when we gave this survey. So we'll see if that changes as time goes on, but that's a pretty high number as well. Question 5 was about student experience. How confident are you that students are receiving academic and social emotional support? 70.6%, I think this is the lowest of all the data elements when it comes to the percentage, with 70%, which again, overall is still pretty high, especially when 17% are neutral, maybe not sure. And I could see where families with TK kids might not know if their kids are getting social emotional support yet in that first month. So maybe, hopefully we'll see this number grow. But this also lets us know that we can be intentional with sharing what we are doing for families. Number 6, and this is the last question, this is the one that was added because of the feedback, was regarding safety and engagement. So how confident are you that IIA provides a safe and welcoming environment where students feel they belong? And 80% were confident or very confident that we provide a safe and welcoming environment for families. I also wanted to share the open feedback. There were 3 questions, or really 2 questions. One is what is going well this quarter, and the next one you'll see is what could be improved. And I put, I kind of tallied next to each line if something kept coming up over and over again. But these are the total open responses. They're interesting. Again, we shared them as a leadership team. We talked about them and just seeing how it could impact what we were doing. So what is going well this quarter? A lot. I think the highest number we had was communication is going well. We had 2 people with clubs, rigor of homework, PE classes, testing, middle school leadership and support, that things seem more organized was a theme that I read a few times, academics and learning or education. We had 6 people that list that. Questions are being followed up, open communication with teachers, which I thought was separate from like the communication on the top is I think really a lot about grants, messages, and things like that that go out regularly. But there are just some interesting things. Students are making friends, advance notice of activities. So those are the things that are going well. There was even a comment that there's reduced congestion in the parking lot. And that is a huge win right there at any school, anywhere. But on the flip side, again, some people might see the same things as strengths as challenges. So the second question is, what is something that you think we can improve? Food options. Honestly, I was surprised it only came up twice because food is always kind of a issue at schools. But you do have, they think we could improve the faster pickup and drop-off time, discipline support for students with disruptive students, cleanliness of bathrooms. After-school programs is a huge topic at all times, which is why Mr. Schmitter gives such regular updates to everyone on what's going on, because it is, we have 300 to 350 students participating. It's quite a big program. School safety, Mandarin in middle school, more volunteers in classrooms, with the evening event and no charge event, I think that one, because I heard other feedback, I think people thought we had to, this was, again, went out before Mid-Autumn Festival, and because there were tickets to buy cotton candy or things like that, there was a perception, this came from teachers to us, and we're like, no, that people had to buy their way into the Mid-Autumn Festival, but that was not true. So I think that helped us clarify communication, that there's no charge, and it was a wonderful event overall. But I think that's where that came from. There were, the comments that I really am spending a lot of time on is the comments about the academic program, strengthening reading, strengthening vocabulary, more math exercises and extracurricular. And so we're really kind of looking into these and seeing, having discussions as a leadership team. And then just to give you next steps, so the next survey will be in November, which is now more towards the end of the month. I did share with our families that this November survey is the big one. This is the LCAP survey, but I'm going to make sure we have the same questions in there as well, so that I have 4 quarters of data to track for the community check-in, and then we'll have our LCAP survey, which really has a whole other function, and that'll be towards the end of this month. We're going to continue to strategize as a leadership team to improve our after-school programs, academic programs, safety, and just look at the feedback, taking it seriously. And that was our survey. So if you have any questions for me? Sure.
Any action items are coming out of the survey? You know, based on the survey results, any action items?
There are a few action items. So looking at some of the, I'll go back here a little bit. We have, as a leadership team, well, we've had a lot of food discussions, and actually because this item has come up, we have a lot of meetings where parents can give feedback as well. Coffee with the principal, executive director advisory committee meetings, parent workshops, and food has also come up there. And so we have had meetings with our vendors, we've had discussions with families, so that was definitely an action item. We're always looking at our pickup and drop-off time. We are having a lot of discussions about classroom instruction, what professional learning looks like, what support do our students need. So that's definitely on the forefront. I know that also Ms. Zhang, who really supports our Mandarin program, when we look at this feedback, we're looking really at a lot of this in a lot of different areas. Even our Lost and Found could be improved. We've had some parent volunteers come and try to streamline our Lost and Found. So I would say there's been a lot of action in a lot of these areas.
I would have just, maybe outline several, maybe just a top action items.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's a
based
great
on the
idea. So
survey.
for the next time, what we can do is have like specific action items of, I saw a slide like, we heard this, here's what we're doing in response in our survey. It's a great idea, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm looking at the things to improve. It says lower class size. I think that might be something we just have to let parents know, because I think that probably is what they desire.
To have the lower class
to have a
sizes.
lower- Yeah. so
And we
it's-
do monitor that, and I would say for the most part, our class sizes are very small and reasonable.
Mhm.
And I think one thing that we've talked about a bit, that we are, our teachers are very blessed because every single teacher has an IA in the classroom.
Mhm.
For over 30 years of educational experience, I have never seen that before.
Mhm.
So not only do we have IAs, for the few students we have that need a one-on-one, that also are in the classroom, but there is an instructional aide in every room as well as an adult. So when you look at like adult to student ratios for class sizes too, they are very low. But we do monitor, especially as we have people come through on the lottery with siblings, making sure we're maintaining a small class size.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that just need to convey to the parents, otherwise they will continue to write this smaller size.
Yeah, and when we do our parent information meeting, which we just planned for January for prospective parents, what I would like to do is have a data point showing average class sizes, like in Irvine Unified compared to where we are as well, so that there's more awareness around the data too.
That's great.
Thank you.
I have a couple points. I have a couple points.
Oh, okay, yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So thank you very much for doing this, and I think it's excellent. It's great we have a baseline, and I think it's very positive. I think the fact that we scored so highly in so many areas, I think it's a great start. It's a great start. And
Absolutely.
especially you get to see the excitement of new families, which is excellent. What I'm wondering is, what, in terms of what's going well and the areas for improvement, if we can maybe organize these into buckets, academics, facilities, logistics, however it is, so we can kind of keep track of that, and then also prioritize them based on, like you said, the tick marks, how many times we heard that. Or you-
Absolutely,
did
yeah,
you-
that's easy to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely,
So we can keep track of what it is, right?
right.
And it's especially important as it's areas for improvement or things that we're doing really well that we want to reinforce, right? And then the other piece of that is for those that are making comments about areas for improvement especially, is there an option for us to contact them? If they want to be contacted, is there an option for them to check that box and say, would you like us to contact you? So then we can dive a little deeper or address something like class size or something like that where we can have a dialogue and help to educate or listen to more what they're saying, because sometimes a survey, you're just very brief.
Absolutely. We did not do that with this first survey, and I did have someone ask a question that I really wished I could figure out who they were and answer, but it was anonymous. So I think if we want to have an optional, would you like to add your contact information, that can very easily be done, because that was my experience when I was reviewing it all. It was a very simple question, and I thought, oh, if I knew who it was, I could respond to that question, but it was completely anonymous. So that's a really great suggestion, and that way, if there is follow-up, we can provide that.
Thanks. Excellent, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to items for discussion and possible action. We have one item in particular, approve memorandum of understanding, the MOU between Irvine International Academy, IA, and University of Massachusetts Global, UMass Global. University of Massachusetts Global requested that internship and fieldwork MOUs be approved for Irvine International Academy to become an approved placement site for students enrolled in the College of Education programs. LCAP goal, action goal 1, action 2, funding source not applicable, budget, financial impact not applicable. It's recommended the board of directors approve action item A. Any background?
I'll give this comment that this is different than I've usually seen. Usually you would have a student-teacher request to come, and then you would ask and put an MOU in place. But we did have someone from UMass come and that wanted to come and was working with Ms. Jung, a Mandarin teacher, but because we were not on their approved list ahead of time, they could not be placed here. So in working with UMass in that, they said, why don't you do the MOUs, and then you will now be on our list, and anyone in the future can come. And actually, I think it's beneficial because the individual that was trying to come here is still early on in their observation work. So by putting this in place, hopefully that person can come and student teach here at IIA.
So, did they approach us, UMass approached us, or we approached them?
Because the individual reached out to us, and was, Ms. Young was doing a great job explaining our program, and it was the intern who was very interested in coming here, doing observations, learning more about our school, and wanted possibly in the future to be placed here as a student teacher. But because we weren't on the UMass list, the college said, well, that's not an option unless they get an MOU and we're doing both field work and internships, so that now we're approved for both levels, and that if we have students who want to come here, then we can have that. It's a great opportunity for us. And UMass, I know it's the University of Massachusetts, but it's an online school, and I have worked with not several, maybe 2 or 3 student teachers from UMass, and they're usually very high quality. So I think it would be a benefit to us to do this.
So they're coming here as student teachers, so they're not getting paid right here.
Right, so not yet. At this point, I believe the individual that kind of kick-started this is coming here to do some field work. And I know I just saw an email, once we get this approved, wants to come and do some observations of a science class or different things for their classes. But eventually, this would get us on the list for student teacher placement. We don't have any yet, but I think it would be a benefit to us, you know, to have student teachers. They're just also, as a side note, and this didn't come up, but if there are ever people that want to become a student teacher here, we would conduct an interview to just make sure the fit is right, you know, and make sure that we think this would work well. We also have to make sure, I always ask for their handbooks to make sure we have a credentialed teacher that meets years of service and all of the other components before we put that in place.
So there is a mention of a stipend, there are some rates included in the MOU for the field work.
So if there is student teachers, some colleges, not all, will pay a stipend to the master teacher that is our teacher for their time and professionalism. So that would be something that they would pay our teacher. So basically, if we had someone who wanted to be placed here, and not all colleges do that, that's why I always ask for their handbooks, because the requirements of the master teacher are different, the timelines of observation versus direct teaching is different for every school. You know, Cal State Fullerton to UMass to, we had someone come from US, you know, that I was talking to from USC. It's always, there are different requirements for each one. So we do kind of go through and keep this in mind as we do placement, but we would not be paying for that.
And how about for expenses? I mean, I assume they're remote, so they could be located all over the country or coming here, flight.
The ones that would be coming here would be local, yeah, and they do have, I've met with the professors in charge of placement, for lack of a better word, at UMass, and they're local as well. And so we wouldn't have anybody come from far away. It actually, in my observation since COVID, there's been an increase. The UMass program has become more popular locally, in my experience.
So they have a local presence. This MOU only governs UMass Global, which is based here.
So I believe it was last month that you approved an intern and an MOU with Long Beach that is going to be good until 2028, which means now we have an agreement. But again, we will interview, we get to choose who comes and how that works for us. So we already have that in place. This would be, now with them, we would just be on their approved list. And that would mean if there's a local someone who lives in Irvine who wants to come see a class, and if we have the appropriate, again, it also, we do have a lot of younger teachers. Sometimes the requirement is that the teacher must be like a cleared credential. So we look at credentialing, we look at what that student needs, and can we offer it? Is it the right fit? And then we move forward. But this just makes us an approved school for them.
It mentions some insurance coverage requirements.
That's there.
Mutual.
So the other thing with student teachers, and especially the field work, they are covered through their college for insurance. So basically I used to teach in the Cal State Fullerton teaching program for 7 years, and this MOU actually helps to protect us, that if the student comes to observe a science class and something were to go wrong, they're not an employee with us, but the college will do the background checks, they'll make sure that the safety fingerprinting's in place, as well as they cover the insurance of that employee, because they're not our employee, they're a visitor here.
But it says that parties mutually agree each shall provide and maintain commercial general liability insurance. And it's got some limits there. I presume we do have this in place.
We do.
We had it. with
I
Long
think what
Beach.
that means
it
is
the
that-
same? I guess,
They're all a little different. This one, what I would imagine this means is that we're insured, which we are.
but maybe we need to make sure that we have the limits that are getting asked for here. Minimum, there are minimums, $1 million per occurrence, $3 million general aggregate.
I can
And-
double check those numbers if you'd like. I know that we received approval recently, and I'm kind of trying to remember where that came from, that our insurance meets the appropriate, it might have been from OCBE, that our insurance is at the appropriate levels that it needs to be for a school our
And
size.
that may be, but
Yeah.
this is saying that each party is going to have this minimum amount of
Okay.
coverage. So if we're signing MOU, that means then we're intending to have
Right.
this amount of coverage. If we don't have it, we have to go buy supplemental. So
Okay, we can look into
Yeah.
our insurance levels and make sure it meets their MOU for, I'll look and see which one that's in.
requirement
Because
is-
there are two, an
I-
internship and a,
pretty sure Long Beach had it as well, and I think we have that in there. So I think it's something similar. So I think we just need to double check.
no problem, absolutely.
Yeah, just notice section 4F. District, basically the school acknowledge that each intern and his agreement. It's actually they call it agreement. It's not MOU. MOUs are typically very loose, but agreement is a kind of like an agreement. There shall be a paid employee. So we have to regard them as a paid employee.
Not necessarily,
That's
so,
what the language
so I
says.
think it depends on the placement.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you an example. The person that we have for Long Beach that you approved, I believe it was last month, that one is a paid internship, which is one level. We had an opening that we could not fill for Mandarin, which is why, and you had to ratify it because, so we worked with the college, so that is a paid intern, which could be a possibility.
Yeah.
So this MOU covers if there's a possibility, but we would not pay someone unless we had an opening and a need to pay them. But student teachers in general are not paid. It can go either way, it depends on our need to pay.
I mean, on this agenda item, basically is ask the board to approve MOU, memorandum of understanding, but the legal document here is agreement. I would make a suggestion, if we're gonna approve anything, we're gonna have to change that to the legal, to the official document here.
So this is their MOU? I want to make sure I understand.
But is it, what is it, they don't call it MOU, they call it supervised internship agreement.
Okay,
It's not
also
MOU.
changing the title,
Yeah.
okay.
It has to be correct, you know, they have to be consistent.
Understood, okay,
There are
I
two
understand.
agreements here.
There are two agreements.
One's a field work agreement and the other is
It's the overall internship agreement.
So field work, my understanding is just coming officer, right? Or,
So at this point, we don't have anyone. We are just signing, and then in the future, if they wanna place someone here, we would meet with them, and this would just get us on an approved list. Meaning, they give it to their student teachers and say, if you live in Irvine and you wanna come to IIA, you can. But then they contact us, and then we go through the need, the fit, and all the other things. So at this time, we do have someone who wants to observe a science class, and this would just mean that they could come and do some observations for their class.
so that's kind of like a field work.
Yeah, that's the fieldwork one, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think the internship, because I think they've also mentioned student teaching, and that's different. So
That
maybe I want
is.
to clarify that.
Well, that's what, yeah, so they would put us on the list for a possible, like, that they could send someone here for an internship if we had a need, which we do not have a need at this time, or for student teaching. But we would have say who comes.
Is this time sensitive? I mean, can we
No.
table this to the next?
We can absolutely table this.
Yeah, I think there are too many questions surrounding this. But definitely we do need to get the language right. So you understand what he's saying about the MOU, right? It's just a
I do,
memorandum.
I do, it's, yeah, it's,
Very loose
it
set
is-
points of an understanding.
yeah, and I
Right,
think
to be
it's,
formalized.
that's how these are all referred to.
But
But
these
if it-
specifically say.
An agreement.
Agreements.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
both
is
of them
Okay.
have
language.
We can check on the insurance and make sure that our insurance meets their MOU. And then we can also, I can change the language when we bring this back. And again, this was they approached us, we have a student who could be interested in the future in working with your school. It benefits us to have them here, so, but I can definitely take that feedback and bring it back in December. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to clarify it because I see rates mentioned here. And I hear what you're saying, that it's really them paying, but looks to, I'm not sure where the specific language is here that's saying that they're paying. Right, so I just wanted to be clear, who's paying
Yeah,
those that are gonna be here, right? We just shouldn't have any questions about it.
the only way we
We're all
would pay is
clear.
if we had a opening and had a paid internship. But I will make sure that's all
We
very
just wanna make
rock
sure that's
solid
clear.
for
I don't
you.
know.
Yeah, absolutely, it's not an issue. Agreement language, I'm just taking notes.
It talks about, in the event that we don't continue with them, just to make sure that, I don't know, has our HR reviewed this?
Yes, they were the ones that submitted it to me for the approval.
And it shows Tiffany as the point of contact. Is that right?
For this one student, Tiffany was the point of contact, because it was for the Mandarin program. So she was meeting with, the student to make sure. Then we brought Eva in to look at what do we need to put in place, why are we not an approved school for any of their students to come look at. And so then Eva was involved, and Eva was the one who sent me the paperwork to bring forward.
So is this person for single subject or multiple subject?
It depends. So again, every individual would have a need,
Mhm.
and that's something, when they approach us, that, again, we look at, okay, so is this, it's in general for any of their students, we're just on an approved list, but that's case by case. So if they come, what are the requirements of, what credential are they trying to get, right? And what I saw when we were in discussion with USC was, because of our 50-50 model, they couldn't place a student teacher here, even though someone really wanted to come here, because science in second grade is taught in Mandarin and not in English. So again, we have those conversations anytime they come of, what do they need in a master teacher? What credential are they going for? Do we have someone to meet the requirements? Do we believe this is a good fit? So it's very, there's a process for going through that as well. And, but this would be for a variety of their programs. I've had, in the past with UMass, I've worked with both multiple subjects and single subject students. So we will table it? I mean, do you want to?
Please,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so are we okay with comments from other board members? So I put out a motion to table this until the next board meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, passes. So we'll table this to the next board meeting.
Got it.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the executive director's report.
Yes, absolutely. So I would be remiss if I didn't start by talking about our fabulous visit that we had last week from the Irvine Mayor Larry Agron. Came to visit our classrooms. We had scheduled it, so he was able to come right towards the end of Mr. Schmitter's wonderful CAS presentation. So we had parents here. And then we gave a tour of our classrooms, and then went in after the tour and had a discussion about our data, our growth, some of our, when I say data, like our celebrations of our data points, so that they could learn a little bit more about us and we can continue the partnership. I do want to thank Mr. Delgado for helping to set that up. Mr. Freeman, thank you also for being there and being part of the tours. I would say, and I think we were in agreement, that at the end, it just was a really positive feeling. And he was very impressed with our school, very receptive to continuing the partnership. In fact, we talked about having a follow-up meeting in January with also including some Irvine City Council members. So that was just such a celebration and so wonderful for us at Irvine Unified. Also, I want to thank his executive assistant, the mayor's executive assistant, Ethan Lang, was also just a joy. And he, I believe, was a Mandarin speaker, so was very impressed in trying to read some of the student work on the wall. So that was wonderful. Also, I know Mr. Schmitter talked about a lot about this, but it's my first time for a lot of these celebrations, and our Halloween parade was very much a success. And it was so fun to see the families come out, and there was music, and the participation of not only our staff, but our families was, it was very spirited. It was very fun to see. The children looked adorable, so that was great. A few things coming up. I'm excited for our first spelling bee, and that communication is going out soon. And then I thought you might be interested, I was waiting for Orange County Department of Ed to put it out, but it did come out, and we will be, our middle schoolers will be participating in what's called a civics bee. So they have to write an essay. They're already participating in Natural History Day, which is for competition learning. This is another component that's coming out of the same middle school classroom, which is the Civics Bee. They will write an essay, there will be a selection process. And then last year, I believe the Civics Bee was held at the Richard Nixon Library, and that the students went out and there's a competition. So very excited about that. And then I do want to thank our families for some donations that have come in. I've tried to make this a regular and ongoing part of my update to celebrate that. We also are reaching out with letters and also keeping the tradition of our Dragon Wall intact with certain donations, but we had quite a few that came in. So I wanted to thank parent Jessie Sung, who recommended us for a donation of $500 from the Confidence Foundation. So that was a check that came today, and I was very pleased to get that. Also, we've had several families that give regular donations that have added up to significant amounts. We had Catherine Wang Jin for $1,000, Vicky Chan for another $1,000. We had, I think it's Jaya George, $2,000, which came in. And then just today, right before the meeting, our middle school team put out information about our big Disneyland field trip that is costly, not only because the bus you have to have the bus all day long, but Disneyland's also expensive. And so we had a parent that had just emailed a few hours ago saying that he would match $2,500 if we could, because our students are raising some of the money towards field trips as well. If you see our 6th grade leadership team, they were selling, because of the piece by piece theme of our Red Ribbon Week, they were selling puzzle piece keychains out front. All the money that they're raising is going to offset middle school field trips. And so then these parents are also matching it. So I do want to thank our families for their generosity, and we really do appreciate it. And then finally, again, I am so excited for our Staff Development Day next Monday. This is going to be amazing with the implementation of Thinking Maps. There is a parent component. Our ILT, we will be meeting on how exactly we're gonna roll that out, because there's a few different ways we can do it, but again, I'm so looking forward to getting this work started. I think we're going to see amazing results. And then also, I do wanna thank our PTO, because because of the money they're able to raise, they're generously providing lunch and a continental breakfast to our entire staff for our Staff Development Day next Monday. So we have a lot of great things going on. Thank you all to you as well for all your time and dedication. We're off to a great start. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the director's reports.
I'll start, if that's okay. So, I want to follow up on the mayor's visit, right? You know, I gotta tell you, I think staff down were very nervous, I don't know, a couple of days before, right? But I have to say that the school presented very well, I think, in general. So we looked very good, and the mayor was very impressed. As a matter of fact, I have his post here. He just posted this about the school, and you can see a lovely picture of me there.
Oh, there you
So
go.
the
There you
mayor,
are.
right? That would be me right here. But I want to read what he said in his post, so I'm going to get it in the record here. It says, I had the pleasure of visiting Irvine International Academy, a TK 8th public charter school, offering Mandarin immersion and a STEAM-focused curriculum. It is inspiring to see students thrive academically while developing cross-culture understanding. Thank you to the dedicated educators and the staff for the warm welcome and commitment to innovative, high-quality education. So that was his post, and he put a little picture of us there, so just FYI. The other thing I had, you know, I have this is, I live near Springbrook Elementary, And they have functions now, just like we do. And this is something new they were doing that I thought might be a good idea for us too. And it says, friendly neighborhood notice, upcoming school event, jogathon, dear neighbors. We wanted to inform you that we'll be hosting a jogathon. They put the date, the event will be increased noise levels during the day. We consider your understanding and patience. Students enjoy this special occasion, blah, 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 blah. So maybe this is something we can do to get a better relationship with our neighbors, right? Something like this. So I thought this was a really good idea, just a notification. We can give a phone number, please contact, I don't know who this guy Mike is, but if they have any concerns, this might be a good idea for us. And I believe in the ELAC, there's something about better relationship with the neighbors or something, or with the residential neighborhood. I thought there was something in there about that. This would be a good item that we could do and include that. So just an idea that I had there. Other than that, that's all I had.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is just amazing. I mean, I've been listening all these. One word came to my mind about IIA family, just healthy. All the things we report today, it's just, we're a healthy family here. I'm just so proud. Thank you, Principal Schmider, for working with the staff, and there's so many details, and with the parents workshop, and all those are so crucial to the school, and we have wonderful parents that they involve. They want to know more. They want to learn together with the students, with their children. Thank you, Dr. Henry. I mean, I just can't imagine. You probably have 30 hours a day that we don't know of. But it's amazing how thorough you are, so detailed. And I also like to thank the leadership team, or you mentioned a couple of times the executive director advisory group came out with that survey. That's a lot of work that took it. Almost all the parents thinking and the staff, and put it in there together. It just, I just, just so thankful that we have so many people supporting the school, and just so proud of our school and staff.
Just several observations. A lot of positive events, positive development. It's a really good reflection of the leadership. Wonderful job by the leadership and the staff, especially Dr. Henry and Mr. Schmidt. I can see from the survey, it's pretty much very, a lot of people are very, very happy. I don't see any major issues. That's why, I'm asking any action items. Basically, that's areas for improvement, right? And, to me, I feel most of the parents, of the 75 parents, right, who responded, majority, almost everyone. The majority, 70-something people give a very positive feedback. They give me a lot of really level of comfort. That's one. Number two, when I look at the financials, and it's very, very gratifying to see the cash flow is a positive, moving into a positive cash flow. That means everything's really moving in the right direction. Okay, we're very healthy financially. Again, it's a wonderful job. It's not easy. And number three, sitting there when you talk about the plan and projecting growing from 570 whatever, 76 students to potentially to 700 or maybe even 800. That's It's just very surprising. 1 year ago, 2 years ago, you can't even imagine we're gonna be in this stage. Right? So, congratulations on that. And, but just one word for caution. Once you grow to over 700, I bet you're gonna have a lot of traffic issues in the morning when you drop off. And, because I experienced it from another school, and this year there's increase of enrollment. I mean, the waiting time suddenly increased. Just by increasing maybe 60 cars or 100 cars, just delete everyone. So that's a word of caution. Okay, so we're gonna have to manage growth cautiously. All right. Yeah. But anyway, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you all. Where to begin? Yeah, the visit with the mayor last week, that was great. I'm really glad I was here for that. It's always really energizing for me to see the school through new visitors. I love to see it. I love to see it the way that they see it for the first time. It's just amazing. The school would not be possible without the staff and without those that work here day in and day out. When students are here, when students are not here. I want to thank the leadership team as well. There's a lot that we don't see that you do, and there's a lot that you do that's outside of the classroom. So thank you for having a heart for the kids, thank you for having a heart for all the stakeholders that have a stake in this wonderful school. To see the cash balance stabilize and grow, and for us not to have the discussion about selling receivables, I mean, it is just, it's an amazing accomplishment that I will,
I will breathe in February.
yeah, it's looking very positive.
But I'll breathe in February.
Because
right?
there isn't money, there isn't a school. So I think you're doing an excellent job. Please stay very close to CSMC, right, like you are. We're monitoring it, and we're improving the situation. Even the way that the data is presented, it's easier for us to digest, right? So we can help keep track of it. And I do want to say that you have been very proactive about being transparent with us. I think you, Dr. Henry, deserve a lot of the accolades with respect to the communication and setting the positive culture and all the things that the school and the parents are responding well to. So you should take a bow for that, as well as many other things, right? But once again, people don't want to be in a school where it's not positive, right? So thank you for setting the stage for that. And I also want to say thank you to the support of OCDE. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you for being so collaborative and supportive and letting us know the areas we do right and the areas where we need to improve. We need that, so thank you. Thank you to the board members. It's just truly an honor to serve with you all. You're just wonderful people with a real heart for the school. It's really an honor, so thank you all. I will stop there. Anyone else have anything else to say? Otherwise we'll move on. Okay, it's recommended the board adjourn the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors on November 4th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll give it to Molly. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Meeting adjourned at 8:17 p.m. Thank you all very much. Next meeting is Tuesday, December 16th.